And hello, my name is Martin, and today what we're going to be doing is covering how to create moving platforms by creating a cinematic. So in the last tutorial, what we did was we created the environment for our player to be in. We set a couple up of different levels, something larger that the other person or that the first person would not be able to jump up over. The only thing that I've added in addition to what we're seeing now is this front geometry, and what I've done there is the geometry has the ability to be able to change the material on both sides, and on one side I've put the glass, and to the player's view they're going to see themselves always inside this cavern. So if we push play, we're not going to see the mirror, but the mirror allows us as the editor to come in here and make edits from far away where we can see everything, and also make sure that the player character can't fall off of or jump out of the area that we have designated for play. Okay, so well, let me go ahead and do this also. Let me come here to the front and let's try to jump over this space, and we will see that we cannot. All right, so in this case, what we need to do is we need to create a platform or a moving platform, so then that way our character can actually jump on top of. All right, so to be able to do this, we need to actually use a cube. So we're going to go to Basic, and there's really two options here. You could use a cube or you could use a plane. The problem with the plane is that if you use a plane, and I'll show you here, is that once you're on the bottom side of it, there's no graphic there. There's no material that can be placed there. So what we want to do is, see, you can see the top side, but you can't see the bottom side. Now, if you, because at some point you're going to be standing under this and you need to be able to see it as a player when it's coming down and when it's going up, you're going to want to use a cube. So let's grab a cube. Remember, this is basics, not geometry. And let's make this a little bit
bigger. Okay, I don't need it to be very tall. And I just need 2 axes. There we go. Ultimately, you could also come here and type the numbers in. So if I wanted to, I could say, oh, I've been doing it by size. Let me do that again. Bring in a cube, and let's squeeze it down so it's flat. And then we will, there's all 3 axes.
Okay, that's probably big enough. Okay, I also want to move this away from any of the other walls. Just for aesthetics, I want it to look nice, like it's its own little floating deal. Okay, so once we've got that platform there, if we wanted to, of course, you could come here and give it a different color, or, you know, change it into some other material. And you can see now that we've got that stone material. Okay, so with the material selected, you're going to want to go to Cinematics. You're going to want to create Add Level Sequence. Inside Level Sequence, we're going to create a folder called Platform Sequences, and inside that folder you want to actually save the information there. So we're going to call this Platform 1 and go ahead and hit Save. Okay, so now what we have is what's called a cinematic. So if you click here on the cinematic, you'll see that you actually have some different information here in the side about what it can do, playback, things like that, and we will get back to that in just a moment. What we need to do now is actually open up what is, and when you created that, it should have opened up this window. Sorry, I've got a dual screen, so mine actually went over to the other side. But when we click that, we should have actually seen this window open up. For some of y'all, that actually may be docked in one of your panels, so you might not see it because it might be, let's say, somewhere down here, which is fine. I'm just going to undock it for a second, and we're just going to take a quicker look at it. So basically, the things of interest here and the things that we're going to need to mess with is the first thing is going to be these two up here, so that you can actually save the sequence when you're finished with them, or after you've done a couple of things, made a couple of changes. The other thing is we want to make sure that snapping is enabled, so then that way when we make changes, it actually snaps to the grid that's in the back here on the timeline. This is indeed a timeline, so time starts here at 0, and as you move across, time increases. What we're looking at right now is frames per second, which is a film term. This is how many pictures there are per second to create the illusion of movement in film. Because as you know, film is a collection of still motion, still pictures that are sped up at a certain speed, and when they're played back at that speed, or 30 frames per second, 30 pictures per second, it looks like the pictures are moving. From there, we have the timeline down here at the bottom. The timeline itself has three important attributes. This green thing is going to be the starting point. This is where where the loop or where the animation that you're going to create actually starts. This red over here is going to be the end point. It's going to signify where the loop gets to the end and then reinstitutes or goes back to the beginning so that it loops. This is the end loop point. This is the in loop point. This right here is your playhead. If we were seeing something on the screen as we move this up or down, we would actually be able to witness the animation moving, right? Okay. Oh, so with the frames per second, we're going to need to switch this. We need to put this to show time as, and we want to turn this to seconds. If yours wasn't already in seconds, you would be seeing a different time code down here. Now, when I move this around, this makes sense. If I type in 5, I would go to 5 seconds in. If I was to type in, let's say 10, I would go 10 seconds in. Now, the graph itself doesn't go that far, so I'm going to have to actually extend it out to where it gets at least that far, and now I can type in 10 and we should be able to see it because the number back here is larger than 10. So now I'm 10 seconds in. So this is going to be a very handy way to be able to navigate through and be able to make changes as you're creating your animation. If you need to make it longer or a shorter animation, this is where you would do it from. Okay. So now let's go ahead and animate. We need to make sure that the item that we want to animate is selected. With the item selected, we're going to want to right click here in the left empty area. We're going to click on this option that says Actor to Sequence, and we're going to select the Add Cube. So once Cube is selected, we'll be able to add track, and what you want to hit is Transform. And what the transform tool does is it'll show this options down here at the bottom, and these options are going to be the location, rotation, and scale. So the three very things that we usually see up here on the top when we click on an object, right? We get location, rotation, and scale. All right, so back in the animation. So with those items, these are now things that we can basically say this is where they are now, this is where we want them to end up, and this is where the different points are. So what we're going to do is move the playhead back to 0. So if you want, you can click 0 there in the box, and we're going to make a point to say this is where the points are right now. So right now, this object is at these coordinates x, these coordinates y, these coordinates z, and as far as the other attributes, this is where they are right now. So what we need to do is we need to get that to go all the way up here. We don't want it to happen instantaneously. We want there to be a little bit of time between when it happens and how long it takes to get up there. So let's say we want about a 3-second elevator ride up. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go to about the 2-second mark. So I'm going to come here and type in 2, and I'm going to go ahead and record these points again. Now I'm hitting the plus sign underneath transform, and that will actually assign a point to each one of these individual parameters. If you wanted to record just an individual parameter, you could come here and record, say, just the X, Y, and Z, or just the pitch roll and whatever. I'm happy to doing all. It's not going to do anything if you have more points recorded than you needed. All right. So what we've done so far is we don't have any motion. We have the same points down here at the bottom that are over here in the 2-second mark. Now you would say, Martin, why would you do that? And the reason why is because when the game starts, I'm giving the player 2 seconds before this platform moves before it goes up. So they can see the platform, decide that maybe that's where they want to move, and as soon as they see the platform moving up, they'll go, oh, okay, yes, this is what I need to do. So I'm going to jump on this platform. From there, I'm going to say, we said it was going to take about 3 seconds to go up. So 2, 3, 4, 5 would be the 3-second mark. And what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to move the platform up to the position where I want it to be at the end of the move. Okay, so let's say we move up about that high. Now that should allow the character to just be able to walk across. So with this now in its new position, I'm going to again select the plus button or add a keyframe for for this whole row. So now what you should see is a line that has been generated, and this line is the path that your animation is now using. So now we see the animation because we have a change between this set of numbers and this set of numbers. So if I scroll to the end, the player has 2 seconds to get to the platform before it goes up. Platform goes up goes up to its position, takes about 3 seconds to get there. Once it's there, if we don't do anything, that's where it's going to stay. So if my character jumps and misses and falls on the ground, I need the elevator to come, or the platform to move back down so that I can have another chance or another attempt to actually jump back on it. So what I want to do is I want to leave this platform, because if I make a change immediately, like right here, and move it back down, that platform won't stop. It'll move up here and then go immediately down. So we want to set, just like we did at the beginning, about 2 seconds. So we're going to go from 5, 6 to 7 seconds in. And in that set of 7 seconds, we're going to go ahead and hit transform again. Now what that's done is created 2 seconds of the platform not moving, a 3-second move from the ground up, and 2 seconds where it's on the floor. So now we have it where the player can comfortably walk off without having to jump, and they can get on this platform to figure out what their next move is. So from here, what we need to do is get the platform to go back down to the bottom. So we are actually going to need to extend time. And sometimes what will happen is you'll want to move this beyond the edge of the platform or the edge of the window that you're working in. You can literally drag the window out to be able to see more time. You can also come down here to the bottom and type in more time and then pull the window out. So we probably don't need more than 14. I'm just going to move it all the way back there, so then that way we can judge how far back we need this to go. So currently we're still up in the air. What we need to do is give it another 1, 2, 3 seconds to move down. So we're going to move it 0.11 minutes in. And here we actually don't want to grab this and move it down, because if we do, we may not end up in exactly the same point that we had the original points in. So what I like to do is I actually like to take and copy this set of numbers right here. I'll hit that and hit Control C, and then I will come over to where my playhead is and make sure that that's on 11 and hit Control V. Okay, so I'm going to right click. I'm going to right click on it. I'm going to say copy, and then over here I should be able to hit, I'm going to right click and hit paste. And I'm going to hit paste transform, so it pastes all of them. Okay. Now you can see that my numbers are a little bit off. If you want it to be really, really precise, you could zoom in all the way. And with that being zoomed in all the way, you can grab that. I can say 11 seconds. So this is where the 11 seconds mark is. And with them selected, I should be able to just grab them and move them over to the 11 second mark, and then pull back out. So essentially what we have is, and let's move this, let's see, somewhere here. So platform stays on the ground for 2 seconds, takes 3 seconds to go up, stays up there for 2 seconds, takes 3 seconds to go down. And at this point, we would let it run, based on how it is. This would actually go for another couple of seconds before it comes back around. So that platform is not actually going to go up for another 5 seconds. So on the back side, I don't really need this to be that long. Maybe maybe I just move it to 1 second out. So then that way it's down there for 1 second. It loops back around to the front half, and then that front half will be down for 3 seconds. Now, if you wanted to, and you wanted it to stay even the whole way, so it's only 2 seconds rest, 2 seconds rest, we could bring it here. The only problem with that is that sometimes these points may end up on the back side, so I really don't like doing that. What I will do is put that on 12. I'll grab, let's see how we do this. Oh yeah, we'll just grab everything and move it up a second. Okay, and then I don't think I need that set of numbers anymore. Okay. So it's on the floor, stays there for 1 second, takes 3 seconds to go up, stays up there for 2 seconds, takes 3 seconds to go down, waits 1 second, the animation loops, and there's a second here. So there's a second on the front end, a second on the back end, and then the 2 second pause, which is in the middle. So 1 plus 1 is 2. This is a 2 second pause, and then we have a 3 second pause and a 3 second pause. Or it takes 3 seconds. And it actually looks like that's taking longer. This is going 1, 2, 3, and I've got this going 1, 2, 3. So I've actually got it going to 4. So let me pull those back one. And this is good because you get to see how to actually edit, and I'm just left clicking and dragging to grab a whole series of numbers. If I need to grab a whole series, I'm just left clicking to select and drag. So I'm left click, select and drag to grab them. So now that I know that I've moved this back, so that space and those spaces are the same, I'll move this back 1 second, and now we should have something that goes up for a second, stays there for 3, or it takes 3 seconds to go up. Then it's, and actually let's see, 1, so 1, 2, yeah, takes 3 seconds to go up. Then it's there for 2 seconds, then takes 1, 2, 3 seconds to go back down, stays there for a second. That plus the second on the end means 2 seconds. That's a lot of seconds. But anyways, when we play the animation, and we're going to wait the 1 second, and by this point this should have actually moved up. And the reason why it's not working is because it has not been told to move. We have given it a path to move. We have told it how long we want it to stay there, but we haven't given it a condition on why it should move. So what we need to do is select this, and we are going to, there it is. There's our level blueprint. I'm sorry, our level sequence. Once we've selected the platform, and we are looking for specifically the level sequence. So, you know, not the platform, but the cinematic itself. So if you select the cinematic and come down here to playback and set it to autoplay, now what will happen is when you push play, it will play, but it'll only go to the end and then stop. You actually see that you have another button right here that says don't loop, loop infinitely, or loop exactly. Now if you do loop exactly is going to give you a number value, and you'll be able to address how many times you want this thing to play. Otherwise, if you just wanted to constantly keep looping, you can set that number right there, and it'll make sure that this platform just keeps doing that over and over and over again. Now, just underneath that, you have start offset, which means you can actually tell it to wait a couple of seconds before it auto starts. So instead of starting immediately when the level starts, you can say wait 1 minute before the level starts, wait 30 seconds before the level, after the level starts, before you create this animation or make this thing move. From there, you can also set obviously a random start time. So you click there, and it will start to play. It just, you know, it'll choose when it decides it wants to do it, and then the pause at end would actually stop it when it gets to the end. So here with the auto loop, you can say play it a couple of times, and then once it reaches the end, it knows that it needs to pause or stop moving. So we, for this to keep moving constantly, are going to leave it on auto playback, so it starts immediately, and we're going to put it on loop indefinitely, so then that way it keeps looping. So let's go ahead and push play. And there indeed it went up. It's going to wait 1, 2, 3, comes down. Now we can jump on it. Okay, we are on our platform, and now we can comfortably walk off. If my character was to fall back down to the ground, he could, let's say, maybe jump on the platform if I wasn't. Here we go. So now we're back on the platform, and we can we can get over to the other side. So now we would be somewhere a little bit further on than we were when we started. Okay, so that's basically it. That's how you make a moving platform. So remember that the big highlights are that you have to use a basic. I would use a cube so you can see it from below and from above. Once you have the object selected, go to Cinematics, create, add level sequence. Once you have the level sequence, figure out where you want the animation to start, add points for that start, create a second group or a second set of points based on where you want the animation to go next, and then plan out your animation. You know, how long do you want it to be there for before, or does it do something else? And once you have decided what the animation is going to be and you're happy with it, all you have to do is push play and actually watch it play. Oh, right. And the other thing would be to make sure that with the sequence selected, there it is, with the level sequence actor, with the actual cinematic selected, make sure that you put it on, if what you want to do is have it autoplay and loop. But if you want it to constantly keep doing it and doing it from the time the game starts, that's what you need to do. All right. Okay, so hope you've enjoyed the video. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.